Welcome. In front of me I have the OPPO Reno15 and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the phone itself, parameters of it, build quality, and anything else that I can think about. Just give you the general whole kind of picture of what I think about the device. And also, at the end, if there's anything better that I can come up with, and give you some other recommendations if this one is maybe, as you say, too expensive or just doesn't offer enough for the value. So, one thing that I want to also mention before I get started with this is that I am not sponsored by OPPO or any other company for that matter. So I am completely free to say whatever I want, and I don't need to be afraid that company will retaliate that with, not supporting me with any new devices or anything like that. I don't get these devices from these companies, so I don't care. Now, with that in mind, we can get into the box. And here we have some paperwork, nothing really special. Then we got the make your moment. Okay. Bit kind of weird catchphrase, slogan, whatever you want to call it. Basically just a nothingness, but whatever. And also in the package we got the Type-C to Type-A charging cable, as you can see. And well, that's it. That's literally everything that is in the box. Now here's our device. This one appears to be what could be considered as a midpoint of these devices. So I do have the Pro version, literally on the sides, and the FS, which is more like a budget one. So here's the FS with about the same kind of size, as you can see. And here is the Pro, which is a little bit of a smaller device that offers a little bit more oomph for all the money. So all of them are running the same kind of Android along with the same skin. So Android 16 with ColorOS 16. And just for people that don't know, this ColorOS is basically the same thing that Vivo and OnePlus have on their devices. It's a one big parent company. They do call their skins for the Android differently, but at the end of the day, it is literally the same one. And it just differs in the settings on how it's named. So here we have a color one, or ColorOS to be more specific. And well, for instance, Vivo uses what they are calling Origin OS. And it's not 16, but 6. So other than that, it looks exactly the same with, if I remember them correctly, similar animations or the same ones even. So nothing really unique. Now, let's actually now move over to the display, which you can clearly see right now. So this is a 6.59 display, and it boasts a resolution of 1256 pixels by 2760. It's also an AMOLED display with 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus certified, and boasts 1200 nits of brightness with an 89.4% screen to body ratio and a pixel density of 460 pixels per inch that is covered with a Corning Gorilla Glass 7i. And on top of that, it's even protected with a plastic screen protector that is applied out of the factory, which is superb. So display right here is damn good. And continuing on into the back where we will have our cameras. Keep in mind this is the midpoint of the device that they offer. We have a dual 50 megapixel sensors, one being wide and the other one being telephoto. One being 1.8 aperture 26mm, that's the wide one, and 2.8 aperture 80mm telephoto. And it's also followed by the last camera being an 8 megapixel 2.2 aperture 15mm ultra wide. And with those cameras you can record videos up to 4K at 60 frames per second, and 1080p will get you to 120 frames per second, though that could be slow motion, I haven't checked. Now, if we now flip it over to the front in the hole punched camera, we actually have another 50 megapixel sensor that also does 4K 60. That is pretty damn good. And with that in mind, from what I can see, most of the OPPO devices, at least the 15s, support decent recording speed or recording quality, like 60 frames at 4K, and also liberally just smack 50 megapixels everywhere, with the slight difference of the Pro actually having a 200 megapixels. But that doesn't really matter that much. The megapixels don't really equate to a quality of the photo. It's more of a sensor, so don't always pay attention to how many megapixels it has, as it's a very misleading metric. Now, in general, the cameras right here, at least on paper, seem to be pretty good. So let's move on. And we can move on to the internals. So under this aluminum frame and glass back, we have a 6,500 mAh battery that can be charged at whopping 80 watts of charging speed, which is pretty damn good. It has an 8 to 12 gigabyte RAM options, and that just depends on how much storage you get. So as an example, with a 256, which is the lowest storage capacity, you get 8 gigabytes of RAM, and then you get 256 with 12 and half a terabyte with 12 gigs of RAM. All options using UFS 3.1 storage type. So we have pretty damn good kind of specifications for the storage, but there is unfortunately no expandable storage. If I'm just going to pop out that tray right here. We have dual SIM card support, but no SD card support. So make sure when you're buying this device, you get the correct kind of storage version to accommodate for your storage needs. Moving on, the processor powering this device is going to be the Snapdragon 7 Gen 4, which is a mid to higher end processor. And it's pretty damn good processor for a phone like this. Which I do want to mention, I haven't checked one thing, a very important one, which will be the price, which I'm going to do right now. And let's see right here. Okay, so that's it. Bear with me. That's interesting. So I can see right now on Media Expert, this phone is actually selling with 8 gigabytes of RAM and half a terabyte of storage, which GSM Arena didn't list. I do want to check the more kind of, let's call it reasonably priced version of it. That doesn't come with half a terabyte of storage, which not very many people want. Okay, I'm looking for one, and it seems like everything here is being sold with half a terabyte. For some reason, Media Expert is a piece of shit site. Not only do they sell new things or used things as new, but apparently they also offer the least compelling offer, 8 gigabytes of RAM and half a terabyte of storage, which okay. So anyway, for that specific arrangement, right where I'm from, it would run me 2,799 PLN, which for all you US folks would convert to $770 freaking dollars. Wow, that is an expensive device for what it actually is. Holy shit, that is like way outside of actually being valuable. Wow. Okay. So you probably can already guess where I'm going to be coming from. But anyway, let's continue on. So with that mid-range processor and a pretty hefty price tag, do we have anything else that is worth mentioning here? Aluminum body, which I did mention, glass back. So that's one. No expandable storage, and the only kind of good features here would be the 4K 60 recording with multiple 50 megapixel sensors, specifically one that more people nowadays might be interested in, being the selfie that has ultra wide 50, which could give you a pretty damn good selfie quality. So that will probably be very appealing to a lot of people. The storage, or not storage, the battery, more like, here is fantastic with fantastic charging speeds, and the options of having a device that goes up to 12 gigabytes of RAM and half a terabyte of storage is also pretty damn good, but keep in mind that it just costs you more. I'm mentioning that because not every device gives you this much storage as an option even. And another positive that I really like about this device is the ColorOS that is on here. It's a OS that I personally really like, and one that has some nice features. For instance, let me just get the other one that is already set up. So as an example, if we go into our app tray, we have all our apps alphabetically organized as you normally have with an app tray, but if you swipe to the side, we have categories. So we have things like social, tools, photography, and all. And this is going to be automatically sorted between these categories. And it just gives you a nicely organized app tray with all your applications in each kind of region that you can expect it to be, along with applications that you use more frequently being visible at the very top. It's a nice feature, and it's one of the reasons why I like ColorOS or OriginOS or the one that OnePlus uses. And it has much more features in here as well, so this is not like the only one. But that being said, the price here being a little bit on a steep side, I would say throws off the value of this device quite significantly, as at over $700, this is one damn expensive device. And at this point, before this phone released, there was a better one that came out, which was the Xiaomi F8 Ultra. Now that device just absolutely clowns on this phone. It's just almost unfair. They should be about the same price, depending on conversion rates and all that stuff. Or it could be a little bit more expensive. Actually, wait, let me quickly check that if I can, so I don't mislead everyone that is watching this. So F8 USD price, and we're looking at supposedly 729 USD for 12 gigabyte of RAM and 256 storage, and 799 for 16 with half a terabyte of storage. So yeah, it would be about the same price. And with that in mind, that device, let's be honest, there's no competition. The F8 Ultra from POCO, or more precisely Xiaomi, is a absolute beast of a phone. It's one that absolutely destroys any flagship phone and costs basically half of the price of a flagship. It's one that comes with the newest Snapdragon processor, being the 8 Elite Gen 5, goes up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, has a 100 watts charging speed with 50 watts of wireless charging, also 6,500 milliampere hours battery, triple 50 megapixel sensors, wide periscope, and ultra wide that do 8K 60 along with 8K 30 and 4K 60. And the selfie is also 32 megapixels wide sensor that does 4K 30 and 1080p 60. Now, like I mentioned, or didn't, megapixels don't really mean that much, so it's more about the quality. And considering the POCO F8 tries to go for the throats of, flagships, I would presume the cameras there, though I haven't tested them out, should be pretty damn good. I mean, if it can't compete with flagship devices, which is trying to kind of destroy, then it wouldn't be really destroying much, right? So it's something that I recommend looking into as an alternative. At the same price, you get a phone that is better, undeniably better, and you get a absolutely insane package, to be completely honest. This is a phone which I did review right here, and I was going through it. I was just kind of, going through it and just doing my typical rant about it. Then I realized the price, and it completely just shocked me because of how moranically cheap this device is in a good way. To the point that, for instance, something like Samsung, when they release a phone, any phone that they can release that is a normal candy bar like this one, is automatically a massive L for them, because POCO made a freaking budget flagship, and a flagship that is a budget that doesn't really feel like it, with everything that you'd expect with the AMOLED display, 68 billion colors, because why would we limit ourselves to one, 2000 hertz pull rate or over that, 120 hertz refresh rate, and even things like Dolby Vision certifications along with HDR10 plus certifications, and a whopping 3,500 nits of brightness. It is a phone that I definitely recommend over this one. This one seems a little bit too expensive. And like I mentioned, I'm not sponsored by any of them. It's just something that I believe myself, and one that I would pick if I were buying a new device. I didn't have any kind of particular attachment to any brand, which I personally don't. I'm looking for the best value for money, which, that being said, attachment to brand will also have some kind of, I guess, value for some people. So if you're using maybe a Samsung, obviously, you probably want to stay with the Samsung just because you're already in their ecosystem. But if you don't really care for that, then I do recommend checking out the POCO. It's going to be better than this, and you can probably also get Vivo, that is going to be better than this, the X300, though this one will come with a caveat. I'm just gonna talk about this from a perspective that I experience. And in Poland, where I'm from, we have this site called Allegro, and it's equivalent to something like Amazon. And unfortunately, it's starting to get filled like probably everything else with China, trying to sell their crap here. But one thing that is a benefit right here is the fact that they were selling the Vivo's X300 at cheaper price than this. And the X300 is a absolute killer of a phone. It's a fantastic device. It's smaller though than this one, which is something that I personally like. And it's smaller, cheaper, but it was going to be from China. But because this was going from the site that I was talking about, I am protected by whatever laws we have right here in our country, which basically means that if the phone breaks, if I get anything wrong, if the seller doesn't want to support the device, fix it, or anything like that, the site itself would give me back all my money, and I don't need to really worry about it. So if you can find something like that and you're protected, it could be also a great kind of opportunity to maybe pick a different device that is looking a bit better. Like I said, Vivo X300 was the one that I would be looking for in my case, as I just personally like the feature set along with the size. So anyway, that basically sums up everything that I wanted to say. So I hope you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.